a journey to discover great food. When I think of British food, I think of honesty. I think of a generous portion.
For 20 years, Britain's greatest chef cooked classical French cuisine.
Everything was French, French, French. My whole vision was blinkered.
Now, Marco Pierre White wants to create dishes inspired by Britain.
I will construct a menu of all the great things which I've seen. Amazing. Tasted. Cheers. Collected. Beautiful.
And over the next 4 weeks, he'll invite diners to test the dishes he creates.
You take this, please, rather than just stand there.
Absolutely divine.
Always check things, don't take things for granted.
Really, really, really nice.
I'm putting myself out there to fight for what I believe in.
At the end of Marco's journey, his chosen dishes will be served to 200 people at his great British feast.
I will deliver a great dinner for 200 people. And they will all walk away thinking, we love Britain. What's important to me about food is when I go to France and I sit there and I eat French food, it should be an extension of that country. It should give me great insight to those people. Britain, we're exactly the same. So why not fly the flag? Every chef in Britain wants to go French. I don't get it.
The most influential chef of his generation is going back to his roots.
I'm not 100% British, but I was born and I was bred in Britain. So when people say to me, Marco, what are you? I always say I'm an Englishman with an Italian mother. I'm very proud to be British.
After 8 years away from the kitchen, Marco Pierre White is creating all British dishes for the first time.
I don't know what to expect. It's uncharted territory for me. The sign which is very excited, but what am I letting myself in for? I'm so used to being in my little world, Mr. Ishii, where people come into my world, and I very rarely leave my world.
Seeking inspiration from across the British Isles, he'll test out his dishes over the next 4 weeks before he faces one final challenge.
At the end of my journey, I'm having a feast, which is a celebration of all the great ingredients that I've been introduced to. It's got to be Britain on a plate, feeding 200 people.
The first leg of Marco's journey will be his search for a main course. He will shortlist 3 and then invite diners to his pub to taste them and give their feedback.
When I look at a deer, when I look at, a hare, a rabbit, a pheasant, I think of portions, I think of food, I think of dishes.
He wants at least one of these 3 main course dishes to feature fresh game.
Rabbits, hares, they're organic, really. They're wild, they've lived their life. It's delicious meat, is rabbit. And as a boy, I was brought up on it. Can I have a pint of cider, please? Thank you. I shoot better piss.
Marco and his driver, Mr. Ishii, are heading to some nearby fields. The plan is to go lamping for rabbits.
We put the spotlight on them and just shoot them. And it just takes me back to that world that I was when I was a boy. I remember the first time I ever shot a rabbit. There were magical moments in my life. When I was a boy, everybody ate rabbit. It was delicious. Today, people think they're pretty little things. We're not going to shoot every single rabbit. If we want 6 rabbits, that's all we'll shoot. We're not just going to keep on shooting for the sake of shooting.
Marco and gamekeeper Ross are looking for the reflection of the rabbit's eyes in the darkness.
Further back.
Normally a lot of rabbits down here.
See, the best time is in the summer, isn't it, when you get a nice young rabbit?
Yeah.
Just leave the legs, saddle, roast it whole, delicious. Do you make a rabbit yourself, Ross?
Yeah.
There's one.
Here, I think. Just over the top. Yeah, you went over the top of that.
It's always nice to miss, though. I like missing, actually. Because if you killed everything, it wouldn't be nice.
It'd be no fun, would it? A rabbit just there on that corner.
30, 35 yards up?
Yeah, easily that. Yeah, easily 35, 40 yards. There you go. Shot.
The rabbit dies instantly and will be prepared for cooking within hours.
Good shot.
If you're going to lamp rabbits, enjoy it. But enjoy it because it's for the table, not for the sake of killing it.
Shot. That is a clean kill.
I mean, it's a generation thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think, people of sort of 55 plus will eat rabbit.
Yeah.
To get a younger person to eat rabbit, very rare.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. Well, we said half a dozen, and that's what we've got. Throw them in my Range Rover. Mr. Ishi will not be very happy, but that's fine.
Although not eaten by many people in Britain, Marco is determined that rabbit will be the first dish on his shortlist for the feast. He'll be cooking rabbit stock pot.
Very simple. It's carrots, onion, celery. It's about 6 carrots, 2 onions, something like that, 1 stick of celery. But, you know, it changes every time I do it. When I cook at home, I don't want aggravation. I want to do something 10 minutes and it's done. Now, we take our rabbit, out with the liver. And, you know, if you don't want to chop up a rabbit, get your butcher to do it. Strip out the kidneys and the fat. And you can see this was a very healthy rabbit. You mostly get 4 portions out of a rabbit. They're cheap, they're free almost, you know, and they're delicious, and I don't get it why people can't eat them. I mean, there's no real butchery to it, it's just very simple. It's a leg, take the leg off. You've got to have a bit of confidence. I remember as a boy sucking the bones. And just cover the pan with water. One more thing, chicken stock cubes. Just dissolve them in. And there you are. Look at those delicious pieces of rabbit. Now what we do is very simple. We just boil it till it turns into a soup, and lunch, dinner. I'd say it'll take about an hour. What better way of celebrating their life? By eating them. And we all know a rabbit loves a carrot. The meat's cooked. It's now just about finishing it off. The next stage is we put in some bay leaves. There's our kidneys and our liver. Not everyone's cup of tea. But that's optional, remember. Not everyone likes liver. And drop in the kidneys. Bit of volleyball. I was fortunate enough in the 60s to be brought up on it. My mum was Italian. Parsley. Just chop it coarsely. Okay. There you are. And what you don't eat today, you can have tomorrow. Little kidneys. Love a kidney. It's dinner, it's broth, it's soup, it's stock pot.
Coming up, Marco continues his search for a main course.
It's quite nerve-wracking meeting someone of his stature. I am quite nervous.
Oh, my giddy. Are you sure they're friendly?
And 3 of his dishes face a very public taste test.
I'm not so sure, because I've got a rabbit.
Marco Pierre White is searching for the perfect all-British menu to serve to 200 people at his Great British Feast.
When you are going to stand up and say that you are representing Britain, you're going to create a Great British Feast. For me, to make that decision by myself, I think would be wrong.
To help him choose which main course he'll serve, a select group of diners will taste his dishes first.
What I'm looking for is realness. I want realness on the plate, I want realness of produce, and I want realness of people's views.
To succeed in his mission, Marco's prepared to go through hell. He's come to Scotland on a non-smoking train.
It was pitch black when I got up. And now we're in Inverness. To discover the world's finest beef.
Marco's travelled over 400 miles through the night in search of his next main course, so expectations are high.
When it comes to a main course, it's got to be straightforward. It's got to stand up for itself. And if you take a rib of beef, you cook it perfectly. Delicious.
It's another hour's drive to his final destination in the heart of the Scottish Highlands.
I've been told that this man produces the very best beef in Scotland. And in my opinion, if this is the best beef in Scotland, then it's the best beef in Britain.
It's quite nerve-wracking meeting someone of his stature and standing in the profession. I am quite nervous.
Bill Castles farms one of Britain's oldest native breeds, pure Highland cattle.
Come on, move. In your own time, boy. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Stop wagging your tail.
I think this would be the biggest point in my farming career so far, for someone like Marco to taste our product and give his views on it. Inevitably, that makes it a very stressful moment as well.
I have to be a realist when it comes to doing the Great British Feast, and I can't include everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Bill.
Welcome. Welcome to
Nice to be
Balnifatter.
here.
You've come to see our cows, I believe.
I came through them.
I saw
Fantastic.
that. Yes.
How many's in your herd?
We have about 76 at the moment.
And how long have you been breeding?
7 years.
7 years.
So relatively new to this. I think the Highland cattle have got the potential to produce the best tasting beef in the world. My opinion, maybe a bit biased.
Bill believes a natural environment produces happy cattle and better beef. To prove how contented they are, he insists Marco meets his herd.
Oh, look.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Can't. Do they ever get vicious?
They're very much like 3-year-old children, and they get stroppy if the bucket's around, but they're not getting anything out of it.
I see. Big horns.
Yeah, but they're not vicious. They know they've got the horns. They'll come close. Come on, Sheila. I mean, if you actually feel the horns, if you get a chance to, they're very warm. They've got a hell of a blood supply.
Stroking horns. They're quite possessive over their food, aren't they?
Yes, very much so. And you're holding a bucket, you see.
Oh, right. Do you want to hold, take my... Oh, dear me. Oh, my giddy.
You're fine here.
Are you sure they're friendly? Well, they seem
Very friendly.
They're happy, aren't
We
they?
have no aggressive animals.
Do you think they sense... Do you think they sense that we're a bit fearful, or do you think they don't care?
I think they're ruled by their stomachs. Tell you what we'll do. I think we'll go up and have a look at the one we've got aside for you.
Oh, my giddy.
Should it be selected for this wonderful banquet?
Look at these boys. Oh.
What we've got in here is the animal we think you might like for your banquet. We actually gave him a name. He was called Marco, but we've had to change it.
Why?
He's got no balls. So we had to give him a new name.
What's he called now?
Gordon.
Exactly.
Good name?
It's a good Scottish name.
Mm-hmm. I thought so.
But has Bill been premature setting aside a whole animal, as Marco has yet to have a taste?
This has been dry aged for 30 days. We think it's at its prime.
You can tell a good steak by the texture, by the colour. OK, well, look at a little sliver. Can I get a little sliver of this?
You cut away.
I want it to be purple. I want it to have a certain amount of fat coating. That's what I'm looking for. Because meat without a fat coating, I might as well eat cardboard. Can we season this one and just flash fry it and have a little taste of it? Would that be possible?
Yes.
I'm just going to flash fry them 30 seconds. Because what I want to do is get the flavour, I want to get the true flavour of the meat.
I am quite nervous about his reaction to putting that piece of steak in his mouth. To have him use our product would just be the pinnacle.
Really good. It is fantastic steak, and I don't remember the last time I had beef as good as this.
Right.
It is great beef. It really is. I would personally like a bit more fat content, but that's the breed.
Marco's impressed with what he's seen, but there's a dish from his past that might be a better option for his Great British Feast.
I came from humble beginnings. We had beef once every 4 weeks, but we'd have pig twice, and the old man used to get the belly pork and cook a piece of belly pork off. and just chop it into chunks, and there it was.
The one thing missing from the Scottish beef was enough fat. So Marco and his driver, Mr. Ishii, are on their way to a Norfolk pig farm.
I'm a big fan of pork, and I like proper old-fashioned pork, which has got some taste, which has got some real fat around it. And it's one of those things that I grew up on, and, you know, there's nothing nicer than good crackling. I like fat.
But en route, Marco gets a little distracted.
That little railway, look at that little pony there, donkey. I like donkeys. This issue, can you reverse, please? I want to see the donkey. Do you like donkeys?
Yes.
They live a long time to donkeys. Look at this donkey, look at his tongue. Look at this donkey. Great, look, can you hear him? I love donkeys. Come here, boy. Oh, can you hear him? He loves me. Hello, boy. Hello, boy. Hello. He's a nice donkey. Do you want to ride him, Mr. Ishii? Hello, boy. Hello, donk. Likes that bit, don't you, eh? Mr. Ishii.
Yes.
Do you have donkeys in Japan?
Yes, we do have, yes.
Pigs and donkeys are my favourites. Pigs are amazing. I remember when I was a boy, we used to have one pig a year, and that one pig a year, he was fed up, and then he was slaughtered, and he was eaten by the family.
Farmer John Kenny specialises in good old-fashioned British pigs.
Morning. I've heard a lot about your pigs.
Thank you very much. Hope it's all good.
Very good. He's happy in there, isn't he?
It's lovely and warm in those huts.
I could cuddle up with him. Hello, boy.
Where will we go?
Of the 9 breeds of native pig, 8 are on the endangered list.
We've got British Lop, which is the rarest of the pig breeds in this country, the most endangered, and the middle whites are the second most endangered ones.
So I do like a big coating of fat. I like
You will
fat,
get that with all of the rare breeds.
Really, you get that
Yeah.
big coating?
Yeah.
What's amazing about pigs, you can eat every part of them. The tails, the trotters, the ears, the tongue, the brain, the intestines, the kidneys, the liver, the heart. We love pig. She's a beautiful girl, isn't she? Look at her. Oh, good girl. I wish I had a wife like that. A pig, in my opinion, should be fat. Like a woman. Oh. What's wrong with that one?
One of John's middle whites is hanging at the local butcher. But to reach the fatty belly he's after, Marco's got to get hands-on.
So you want me to chop this in half?
Yeah, I thought if I get you started, you can chop down it.
I used to work in a butcher's shop years ago.
When you're chopping,
Yeah.
let the chopper do the work. The weight of the chopper will do the work.
That's a big chopper.
But thank you.
The pig is an option. But does everyone like a pig? I don't know. Does everyone like a bit of crackling? I'd say yes.
Okay. You stop on that.
The first and last pig I will ever do.
Perfect.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's not often you get fat like that anymore.
I like proper. Look, that's proper pig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pig's not everyone's cup of tea. But would I have pig? Yeah. Would I have rabbit stock pot? Yeah.
The pig's fat has given it the edge over the beef, so pork joins rabbit on the shortlist, leaving one more main to find.
What I'm going to do now is show you how to make the perfect crackling. No fuss, straightforward, guaranteed every time. So you take a bit of sunflower oil and just massage it into the belly pork. You could use clarified butter if you wanted. Without the oil, the crackling is never as golden, it's never as crispy. Table salt, just season evenly. Not too much salt. We take a little water. We put that in the bottom of our roasting tray. I mean, if someone said to me, Marco, how much water? Who cares? Because as long as it doesn't evaporate, I'm not that bothered. And the reason for that is because I want to capture all those juices. And so that is the base of my gravy. Let's just put our belly pork on our rack. 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours, bottom shelf. Approximately 160. Your crackling should be golden brown, perfect. So within that time, we can make our honey glaze. So for the honey glaze, we've got the clear honey, star anise, 6 or 7, and 1 tablespoon of cracked coriander. Approx 600 mils of honey, clear honey, and it goes. Then we take our coriander and our star anise, and then we reduce that down by half, and that's our glaze. My garnish for my roast pork is going to be roast onions. Cooking should be a pleasure. If it's a job, get a takeaway. I didn't peel them. I just cut them straight in half. I don't mind a bit of skin. It holds it all together. Bay leaf, take a bit. The sage. And just a little bit of seasoning. And then just pop them in the oven, and when they're cooked, they're cooked. The inspiration for the pig is from the old man. It was a cheap cut, but it was delicious. Good fat content. Buy a belly pork. It's much cheaper than a prime cut, and it tastes better. Amazing crackling. Now, but as you can see, the water underneath has collected all those juices. And that's going to be the foundation of my sauce. My gravy is now reducing, and it's almost there. But just to finish it off, what I will do, I'll add a tiny bit of my honey reduction into there, just give it a bit of sweetness. And then I'm going to glaze it with the honey reduction. Okay, there's our pig. Pig. And I like big chunks. I don't like sort of thin slices. And this little pig, he went to market. He really went to market. This is a big pig. It smells good. And, you know, to drop this in the middle of the table on a Sunday lunch or whatever day of the week, it's got that sense of occasion. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Coming up, Marco needs one final main course to go with rabbit and pork,
Nice fish.
as he prepares to put his dishes to the test.
Where's the strength of taste in it?
Beautiful. It's really good.
You know, you expect more.
Marco Pierre White is scouring Britain in search of a main course for his great British feast.
When I think of British food, I think of honesty. I think of a generous portion. It's that simple.
A group of selected diners will help him decide which dish makes it onto the final menu. He's already shortlisted a rabbit and a pork dish. Now he's on his way to Dorset, seeking inspiration for the final contender.
We have great fish in our waters. I mean, and many varieties and many different species of fish, shellfish, freshwater fish.
Marco's chartered a boat to take him to the remains of a Second World War submarine, where he's hoping to land some tasty British fish.
How are you?
all right?
Nice to be on board with you. And the reason why I chose to go wreck fishing, because on wrecks, you get congers, you get lings, you get cods, you get pollocks. One of the dishes I'm considering for the feast is a fish pie. Because I think, you know, it's one of the great dishes. And when a fish pie is done well, there's nothing nicer.
Since retiring full-time from the kitchen, Marco has become a very keen angler.
There's a lot of fish down there, isn't there? It's exciting. So we're fishing a sunken submarine from World War II. What it does is it creates a feature on the bottom which attracts the fish.
As they near the wreck, 100 feet below, it's a good white fish they're after, preferably cod.
When I was a boy, we used to catch lots of cod off the East Coast and haddock, and they seem to have gone. It's like a mill pond today out here.
Just coming over the wreck.
Within Marco has his first strike.
Feels like 2 portions.
It's not a cod, but it's just as good for a fish pie.
Nice pollock. It's good fish, isn't it? I reckon that's about 4 portions, actually. Nice fish, isn't it? Very happy with that, aren't we?
Despite not landing any cod, there are plenty more fish in the sea.
Only a small one.
And before returning to shore, Marco wants to prove just how good a fisherman he is. He wants to land the biggest monster in the sea, the elusive conger eel. Full-size specimens can weigh up to 150 pounds.
Nice fish. Nice bit of fun. The sadness is that a lot of people who cook at home struggle to cook fish. But what they should realise, with a little bit of confidence and a little bit of inspiration, fish is easier to cook than meat. How do I make a fish pie in 15 minutes, aggravation-free? It's very simple. We have the smoked haddock, we have the cod, but you can use pollock, salmon, prawns, scallops, hard-boiled eggs, young leeks, cheese, potatoes, cream, stock cubes. You can get very good frozen shrimp, shell off. Take off their tails. Take out the entrails. Pull and twist, as you can see. I always use scallops in the shell, and you can get these in the supermarket as well. Just release the scallop from its muscle. Just pop it out. Take that big coral off. So we just blanch them for approximately 30 seconds. See, can you see them applauding me? So we've just blanched them to allow us to take the flesh out of the shell. What I do is I press in, and then I just pinch in the base of the tail, comes out whole. Fish pie should be on every pub menu in Britain. Families should have fish pie once a month in Britain. Great way of introducing children to eating fish. Here's our pie dish. We like a big pie. Any white fish will do. And cut them into quite large chunks. Shrimps. Scallops, quite chunky. Smoked haddock, because it flavours the fish pie. Salmon. But you know, there's no rules. Whatever fish you can get, whatever fish you like, put in your pie. You can see it's stacked with fish. Well, I'd say that's a pie for 4, or mum and dad and 3 kids. So we'll take approximately 400 mils of double cream and a fish cube. I've always used stock cubes as a seasoning, not for making stock with. As you can see, it's just starting to coat the back of a spoon. And then what we do is we just pour it over our fish. We take our eggs, young leeks, blanch them for about 3 minutes, and just sprinkle them on. And then to finish off, some cheddar cheese. Again, some people put the cheddar on top of the pie, but I don't see what it does. And the cheddar inside the pie is delicious. The final part, mashed potato. And, you know, if you've got a little bit more or a little bit less, who cares? Any excuse to taste things. Now, we put it in the oven for approximately 15 minutes. Very high, top shelf. And if it burns, don't blame me. What I love about a fish pie, it's got a bit of everything in it. You've got everything within that one pie, which represents every corner of Britain. So there's our fish pie. It's been in the oven for about 15 minutes. This is the moment. So now what we're going to do is just... Oh, this is nerve-wracking. And there we are. And nice little shrimp. Really good.
Marco now has his 3 main course dishes. Fish pie, rabbit stock pot, and honey roast pork. He'll unveil them to a group of diners at his pub so they can taste them and give him their opinions. But before he leaves the coast, there's one British culinary tradition that Marco doesn't want to miss out on.
Before my mother died, I went to Italy every year for my holidays, back home to my mother's parents. But once Mum had died, it was seaside time. Scarborough, Whitby, Bridlington. Every time I go to the seaside, I always have fish and chips, because I love the romance of it all. Hi, ladies. I would like a big plate of chips for a starter with lots of slices of white bread and butter. Malt vinegar on the side and salt. I'd like a piece of haddock. I'd like a piece of cod. Can I have some mushy peas on the side, please? Is that okay? You're very kind. Thank you, girls. I'll kiss you all before I go. Trust me. I love fish and chips. It was the only way I would eat fish as a child. It was haddock, not cod. Cooked in dripping. I love a chip butty. There's nothing nicer than a chip butty with lots of malt vinegar and salt, in sliced white with lots of butter. These are childhood memories, and as we get older, we start to become nostalgic. All the things I love to eat, and my whole palate is born out of my childhood.
Marco's main courses are all linked to his past, so what better way to finish this leg of his journey than with a trip to Yorkshire, where he grew up.
Am I a Yorkshireman now? I think I'm more southernised, but my heart's in Yorkshire. I was born into humble beginnings. I was very fortunate that I had an Italian mother. So, you know, the first 6 years of my life before my mother died, I ate Italian food. And to be brought up with two cultures, I didn't think, you know, God, how lucky am I? It's been brought up in Leeds, called Marco Pierre in the 60s, was quite embarrassing. But would I change my name now? No, I wouldn't.
With a group of diners due to taste his dishes and nervous about cooking British rather than French cuisine, Marco plans to sweeten them up using a unique local ingredient.
Today I'm here to come to one of the great rhubarb farms. And Yorkshire's always been famous for its rhubarb. And when I was younger, every garden where I lived had a rhubarb patch in the back.
Janet Oldroyd Hume is one of only a handful of producers who force their rhubarb to grow out of season in darkened sheds.
How are you, beautiful girl?
Hello, Marco.
I've heard you're the queen of rhubarb.
I'm so pleased to meet you.
Amazing.
Let's step into this secret world.
And so this is a rhubarb shed.
By keeping the sheds warm and pitch black, the rhubarb roots are tricked into reaching full size within weeks.
You should have a crucifix at the end.
So,
and a confession box.
do you think it feels religious then?
I think it feels very religious.
The resulting stalks taste much sweeter than normal.
It is magical. It really is.
So peaceful.
Marco's plan is to serve the rhubarb as a bonus starter dish, with scallops.
It's like a stick of rock, doesn't it? Looks like it's made out of sugar.
You'll get beautiful chunks with that.
Oh, I love a chunk. Oh, you're so naughty, you know that. You should be spanked with rhubarb sticks. Rhubarb is a great British ingredient, and lots of people only use it for puddings. Rhubarb is quite versatile, and it can be used in savouries. I serve scallops with rhubarb. They work fantastically well together. People think, oh, that's a bit strange, but it works. It's always a pleasure to come back to Yorkshire. I can't help but be emotional.
How you, love? Are you well?
Good, good.
Only Yorkshire could do tandoori sardines at 10.50 and get away with them. Jerked lamb cutlets. This landlord's obviously travelled the world. Cheers. So what a lot of people don't realise, and not until so long ago I was quite naive, there's masses of great British produce. I mean, like today we've just been over the road to the rhubarb sheds. Fantastic. And there's a lot of people out there who are passionate about what they grow or rear, and they're not given the applause that they deserve, in my opinion.
Coming up, It's decision day for Marco, as he unveils his 3 British mains to a select group of diners.
So full of flavour. Absolutely delicious.
But not everyone's feeling patriotic.
A long way to come for a disappointing meal.
This is what I think of you and your comments.
It's decision day for Marco. He has 3 all-British main courses, and the time has come to test them out on the public.
I'm putting myself out there to fight for what I believe in. I believe in Britain.
Having spent his career cooking French cuisine, he's cooking all British dishes for the first time and has asked a pub full of diners to pass judgment on them.
Had I gone on this journey 10 years ago, would I have allowed people to have a say? The answer is no.
They'll also be asked to choose their favourite.
They should have a go and they should taste a little bit of everything, even if it's not to their liking.
Their favourite dish will form the centrepiece of Marco's summer feast, provided he agrees with them.
They've got pig, they've got rabbit stock pot, and they've got fish pie. And that's stage 1. Let's have their opinions.
To help sell his dishes to the punters, Marco's invited close friend and maitre d' Nick Mounier to run the front of house.
I think it's very exciting that we're seeing him preparing new dishes. You can see that he's very excited about it because he's very passionate about what he's doing.
The diners are now starting to arrive.
Hey, pleased to meet you.
Max Arthur, nice to meet you.
But things haven't started well in the kitchen. Someone's ordered French rabbits. And the ingredients for his bonus starter dish haven't arrived.
We've got a little problem. We've got no water pressure.
So do you want me to go slowly?
You can do what you want.
Marco won't serve his mains until his scallop starters are perfect. So it's down to Nick to keep the diners on side.
Has the watercress arrived yet? Has the watercress arrived yet? Excuse me, Neil, this is more important. I had this conversation over an hour ago. Nothing has happened in an hour. Why? Our fault. Look, they're not paying. They can wait, can't they?
Many of today's diners are faces from Marco's past, including some of the chefs he's influenced.
He didn't accept second best. Everything had to be perfect. He was always a perfectionist.
I see a guy of his nature cook, you know, it was an excellent experience. He's an absolute legend in this trade, you know.
After meeting Marco, I kind of relearned everything. He was so influential. He was totally passionate.
So it's coming now, yeah? Wasn't hard, was it? It's a phone call.
Other diners include butchers, food historians, and Marco's guest of honour, his godmother, Gilda.
How long? You got to communicate with me. How long?
Minute and a half.
With the ingredients finally ready, Marco can now get his starters out.
Your scallop's perfect, but your rhubarb's not perfect. You should always check things. Don't take things for granted. I'll close an eye this time.
Okay.
Nicholas Menier.
Beautiful. It's really good. I'll probably nick that one.
Beautifully cooked. Really nice combination of flavours.
How are they, Nick?
Very good.
With the starter a hit, it's now time for the real business of the day.
Can we have the dishes? Can we have the dishes on the pass then, please?
What will the diners make of his British-inspired dishes? Each table will get a bit of everything at once. Rabbit stock pot, honey roast pork with spices, and fish pie.
Come out fighting.
So which dish will have what it takes to make it onto Marco's menu for the feast?
Fish pie.
As the mains hit the tables, Marco's starting to doubt whether rabbit was such a good idea.
I think they'll go for fish pie. Well, I don't think rabbits. It's not a very popular meat, even though it's a delicious meat.
Sorry, excuse me. And the lapin?
It sounds very nice, but I'm not so sure, because I've got a rabbit.
What are you going to have?
Give it a go, but I probably won't like it.
Wow. Falls off the bone. I'd like to taste the pork.
Beautiful.
Well done, boys.
With all the mains served, it's now time for the diners to have their say. One of the 3 dishes they've sampled today will be served to more than 200 people at Marco's Great British Feast.
The fish pie is delicious. The fish is cooked to perfection. It's very good, very good.
The pork was so full of flavour. Absolutely delicious.
Oh, wonderful. I have to remain loyal to the rabbit.
It was so hard to choose because they were all absolutely lovely.
As the diners hand in their comments, the table of food historians seem slightly on edge.
Are we actually seeing him? Is he going to appear?
Oh, yes, he will do, yeah.
And they're not that impressed with the dishes they've tried.
The fish pie we felt was very nice, but it's fish pie, we could make that ourselves. And when we go out for a fantastic meal, we want something a bit more than that.
What we've got is a fish pie that's actually sort of moderately fishy. But, you know, you'll expect more.
British food has this awful reputation as being bland.
If modern Britain represents the victory of style over substance, then who knows? Perhaps we've got dishes here that represent modern Britain.
The diners have spoken, but will Marco like what he hears?
Fish pie was unexciting, lacked flair. Honey roast pork was the best of a mediocre meal. Tender, but too sweet.
Unfortunately, it's the comments from historian Max Arthur that Nick has chosen to read out first.
I expected something quite spectacular, quite a fireworks show, and the fireworks show just became a damp squid.
Which dish best represents Britain and why? I don't think any of...
I know who Max Arthur is.
Okay.
And I could have got that in my local town and eaten just as well there, really.
I don't think any of these dishes represent Britain. But if you had to choose one...
Can you say something?
It'd be the fish pie.
Oh. I mean, they look like the Addams family.
I'm disappointed. It's a long way to come for a disappointing meal.
Is he still here?
I think he's left.
Of course. They're all brave when I'm not in the room.
Exactly, yeah.
The remaining diners' comments are all glowing.
Rabbit. Light, moist, tender, fresh flavour.
See, there's a man with a palate.
And he's even managed to impress the younger generation.
Zoe Nicole Guella.
She's a charming little girl.
Very nice girl. Rabbit. The rabbit was my least favourite because I have a rabbit at home.
We'll cook it when it's dead.
But it was very tender and nice.
Yeah.
But instead of embracing their feedback, there's now only one person's comments that matter to him.
Which dish best represents Britain and why?
See, it's people like Max that give Britain a bad name. Max, this is what I think of you and your comments.
He's obviously not invited to the feast, is he?
Finally, the diners were asked to choose their favourite of the 3 mains.
Third place, rabbit stockpot. Yeah, do you agree with that? Second place.
Pig.
Correct, honey roast pork.
With spices.
With spices.
Very colonial.
First place, boss, fish pie.
A pie will always win.
I think so.
The public have chosen their favourite, but does Marco agree?
I think it was a fantastic choice, fish pie, because I think it's got a bit of everything. It's got shellfish, it's got bits of white fish, it's got wild salmon in there. And I think it has that sense of occasion. I think it represents Britain. I think it's quite nice having that sort of grandness of a big fish pie. It sort of makes a statement.
Marco's chosen the all-important main, but there's a long way to go before he's ready for his great British feast. Next week, Marco turns his attention to starters.
Everything I'll be doing is great British classics, with a twist. Do you think we'll get to double figures?
No.
It's all the Mr. Issue. Here he comes, here he comes.
And throws caution to the wind.
I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to roll the dice.
It's raw venison, it's not cooked.
You know, I always like to make my life difficult.
Absolutely divine.